Here's the pitch that you were given. You're going to have Ryan Gosling. It's going to be about a suicide mission to save the sun. And there's going to be this weird rock creature that also eats sound that's going to befriend Ryan Gosling. And it's all going to make sense and be a really good plot. On paper, Project Hail Mary sounds like a really weird movie, but in reality, it actually might be the Hail Mary that Hollywood needed to send in order to save their behinds. So is that true? Or is all of this just marketing hype? Is all of this going to fall flat on its face? Today, we're going to talk about that and more on this episode of Cut the Crap. Well, if you don't know what my name is Ethan Wood, and today you are watching Cut the Crap, where we cut through the crap of the Hollywood landscape, trying to find out what is good to watch and also talking about the cultural implications of all of it. So, today we're talking about Project Hail Mary. This movie is set to come out in a couple of weeks, actually on March 20th, 2006. It is created by Amazon MGM Studios, and Amazon put a lot of money on this movie, so people are thinking it's going to do really, really well in the box offices. Time will tell. Right now it stars Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace alongside Sandra Hüller and Ken Leung. The directors are Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Now, if you don't know who these people are, I didn't either until I did this research. These people are both directors, writers, producers, and they've done a lot of work together in the past. Things you probably have seen are the Lego Movie and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and I believe they're working on the third one whenever that comes out. Please, Lord, may that movie come out.
Please, this is serious.
These movies did really, really well in the box offices. They strike a nice balance between humor and depth in movies. That is something I really appreciate about them. That is something I hope that they will bring into this movie. But at the current moment, these people are backed by a lot of money. So if you don't know anything about Project Hail Mary, this movie is based on the 2021 bestseller by Andy Weir, the same guy who wrote The Martian. Now, this is a book that people online rave about. If you have not read it, I would go suggest reading it, only because I've heard good reviews about it. I myself have actually not read the book yet, but at some point I would like to read this because after doing all my research, I'm like, this actually sounds like a really good read. I do love a good sci-fi thriller with good characters, so I might go read that at some point. This movie was shot on IMAX, so they're hoping for a big spectacle. I believe this is so they can capture the essence of the book better. If you're just producing something for the theater screen, it's going to be fine experience, but IMAX is good at surrounding your senses and getting you encapsulated by the movie while you're there. I think the reason they're put so much budget behind this is because their target audience are the people who have read this book and are avid fans of the book, so they want a good experience. I'm thinking that's probably why they've shot this in IMAX and dumped all this money into something that's not a big franchise. That doesn't have a whole lot of historical data, besides the fact that other movies like it have done decently well in the past. This one, I'm kind of curious how it's going to perform, only because I know where Hollywood is at these days, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't trust Hollywood anymore, and I'm hoping that they do this movie justice, because people who make movies off of books tend to not do the book justice at all. That is neither here nor there. So that's the context. Let's get into the actual meat of this episode. Is this movie worth watching in 2026? Now, first, you might be asking, well, why are you even talking about this movie? And again, this is a sci-fi thriller. And I think this one is unique for a few reasons. So first, a little bit of history, understanding where we're at as a culture, so that this kind of puts this movie into a better context for you. Okay, and as I'm editing, I just want to clarify a few things I was trying to say and didn't say very well, editing it right back here. I am trying to make the point that we are in a different era of filmmaking. Before my time, people were more focused on the spectacle, on things that were unrealistic. They loved it when movies could give them something that wasn't in this world. However, my generation really values things that are real, something that's tangible. We really like themes, is what I've noticed. I really like it when a movie delves into some sort of theme, but I think we're just in a weird area where Hollywood doesn't exactly know its target audience. I'm not exactly sure if this movie is going to deliver that, and that's what I'm kind of curious about. I'm curious how it's going to speak to the younger generation. I do know it's going to speak well to the book lovers, but that is coming up. So keep watching, appreciate it. And I think that's why I distrust Hollywood so deeply, is because I know that everything that they produce isn't genuine. They have no morals, they have no beliefs, they have no value system. All they care about is the money. I think this movie is going to take the authenticity part that Gen Z really craves, and it's going to take the realistic but kind of unrealistic balance that films have been using for quite a while that audiences are really drawn to. And it will hopefully merge those two in a way that is intellectual, but also still a blockbuster at the same time. I think they're actually walking a very fine line. There's a lot of ways that this movie could go wrong, but from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing, I think it'll be okay. I trust the directors enough that they'll make good decisions as far as that. The main goal of this movie, though, is to capture the essence of the book. If this movie doesn't do that, I think it's going to fail. And I will say that again. The measure of success of this movie will be determined by whether it can capture the essence of the original book or not. If it can't do that, I don't think it's going to perform well in theaters, because it's not going to perform well with the audience. Their target audience is the people who've read the book, people. If you don't capture that, it's going to fail. So with that said, Hollywood really needs to focus their attention on whether there's passion put into this project, whether the people who are putting it together actually care about what they're working on, and is that going to spill over into their work? Is this just a money grab, or is this something genuine that has good potential to actually move people in the theaters? So let's talk about the main points of what people's contentions are with this movies, and then I'll tell you my thoughts at the end about that question. So first, the spirit of the movie. Will this movie capture the spirit of the book? I think so, based on what I am seeing. The directors have come out and they've done a couple of press tours. They did something on Reddit a little while back. If you want to go watch that, you can. They basically answered people's questions on Reddit about the movie. Really smart play. That was where their target audience was. Good marketing strategy. But again, they are the creators of a couple of movies in the past that have done really, really well, notably Lego Movie. Now, don't judge too fast, because a lot of people are saying, please do not compare this to the Lego Movie. If this movie is the Lego Movie, I am out. And that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that when the Lego Movie came out, nobody saw that coming. That was such a sleeper hit. I remember going to watch that in theaters and being like, well, I'm a kid, so I do like Legos, but I'm not expecting too much out of this movie. And then I walked out of the theater and was like, that was way too impactful for just a Lego movie. Like, that should have been a really lame movie, and it was incredible. And I think it's because it captured the essence of what it feels like to grow up with Legos, to play with Legos. It somehow created a plot and characters that really imbued those weird characteristics, those little things I can't explain about the experience of playing with Legos. The directors do a really good job at encapsulating what it feels like to do the thing they're making a movie about. They're really good at capturing the essence of whatever that is. So I think they'll do the same thing with the book, only because their track record was really, really good. We will see, though. Time will tell, but I'm thinking we have a good chance of these two doing wonderful work with this book. The second argument that I have seen is that the plot's bad. So is the plot actually good, worth watching in 2026? Yes, I actually do think it is. If you don't know, here's maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but it's like the plot that you could look up on Google AI if you had like 10 seconds to figure out what this movie's about. So I'm not going to spoil anything big, just mainly giving you the context of the movie. It's not that deep, and it's actually just going to be very pleasant to watch. Just a nice feel-good movie, but it's also thoughtful. It has some themes about friendship and about humanity and about who we are as people. It's a sci-fi film, so a lot of the film is based in actual physics. Some are kind of made up, but for the most part, they're pretty believable, and that's fun. Like, for those who are science buffs out there, you will enjoy this movie. And it respects your intellect because it's easy to understand, but it also throws a lot of concepts at you. That is something that people talk about in the book, especially. Watch this clip right here.
As a girl that is not a science girl, okay, there were so many concepts and so many things that were just thrown out there in this book. And the writer did such a phenomenal job at making me feel like I was an expert in that field.
So this movie really sets up two characters. You got Rocky and Ryland, and they are against the problem. A lot of alien movies have alien versus human, or human versus problem. It's really refreshing to have a setup where the alien isn't a bad guy. That's just me. I've seen that a couple of times on the internet too, but that might just be me. I'm okay with that. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that I don't have to feel conflicted about rooting against the problem. There's no conflict in my mind, no gray area of whether this is okay or wrong and that kind of thing. So I really appreciate that. I'm not exactly sure how likable Rocky's going to be, considering he has no face and he's made of rocks, but we will see if they can animate a nice rock spider character, whatever that thing is, and see if it's going to be likable for audiences. We'll see. The third argument is that it's too long. Now, if you don't know, this movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 36 minutes. That's very long compared to a lot of other movies out there right now. However, the fans of this book are celebrating that. Again, this movie prioritizes the fans, not necessarily the general audiences. That is something I appreciate. I think this was actually a very good strategy on their part. Focus on the target audience and let other people hear about that movie from the target audience and then go watch it as a result. I'm hoping that this movie does well because of that. I think that actually was a really good ploy on their part. So as far as downsides go, are there any downsides of this movie right now? The only ones I could really think of is if they don't capture the essence of the book, this movie will probably flop. And that's only because its target audience is the people who have read the book. If they walk away from the movie and they're really not impressed with how it was executed on screen, I don't think a lot of general audiences are going to want to go watch it because, again, the early adopters are going to be the book lovers. We'll see. Again, the directors have a good track record. I feel confident that they'll put something together. I will definitely go watch it and I'll review it and come back here and tell you guys about it. But for right now, I think we have a pretty good chance of getting a pretty solid movie out of this that feels a lot like the book. We will see though. And the only other downside is that it might be too humor based. Now, again, going back to the Lego movie, these two directors really love their humor and they love that weird mix between humor and plot. I'm a little scared, I guess, that it might distract from the movie a little bit and not be true to the book. So I'm hoping that they find a nice balance between humor and actually making a good plot. Again, I've never read the book, so I am curious whether there's humor in the book already that they can use, or if the book already felt kind of humorous, or if it didn't at all. So watching a little bit more of a humor take on the book on screen might be a little jarring for people. I have no idea. At the end of the day, if I were to give you a suggestion, here, come in closer, a little bit closer. Go watch this movie. I think it's worth it. There seems to be a lot of green flags. The directors have passion to make this project work. They're targeting the people who have read the book and who love the book. They have a fire cast, and they seem to not be so focused on the money, and they seem to be more focused on making good quality. That is why I think you should go watch it. If Hollywood really cared about the money, they wouldn't have made the movie 2 hours and 36 minutes, and they also definitely would not have given that rock character no face. They would have put a face on that thing and it would have been freaky, but at least it might have related to audiences a little bit more. My point is, I believe that this movie will do well. There's a lot of things pointing to success. Now, one quote that I want to leave you with, I found this on Reddit and I think it was very well written. It's a lot longer. I'm only reading you the first part, but this was a really good way to frame it in your mind as you go into the theaters on how to judge this movie. This Reddit user said, "Critics review films for what they intend to do as well as how well they do them. This is why I hate the phrase, 'Why do critics hate this movie? It's just some dumb popcorn film.' Because most critics know that. Most critics know that a film like, say, Captain America Civil War will be a lot more silly and stupid than the latest Michael Haneke film. A good critic doesn't judge a film by all movies, but by similar movies and the intention of the filmmaker. Let's judge this movie by similar movies and the intention of the filmmaker." The intentions are there, guys. The intentions are there. Go look up videos of these two, Miller and Lord. They know what they're doing. And again, this might be a symbolic Hail Mary for Hollywood as well, because right now they need more movies that focus on quality than on money. And they focused on money for years and years and years, and it's finally biting them in the butt. I'll link the trailer down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, though. That's the whole reason I do this. I do this so that people will discuss it. I want people to be more thoughtful about movies when they go see them, and I want people to not just go blindly watch whatever. Also, we can't afford that. Theaters are very expensive. But let me know, are you excited for this movie? Are you not? Why are you not? Why are you? Again, my name is Ethan Wood, and this has been Cut the Crap. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.